So I was recently in a live Google Hangout that was filled with TTC trash talkers and YouTube content creators here on YouTube. It was a live hangout on Saints Uptown's channel. Shout out to Saints Uptown. He is a New Orleans Saints TTC trash talker who occasionally pops on here with some live Google Hangouts and some trash talking for the New Orleans Saints. So shout out to him. He occasionally hosts live hangouts where basically anybody, as long as you're not a troll and he knows you, can go in and talk football, talk trash, and basically talk anything that's going on in the TTC or in life. And a beef started. A beef started in that Google Hangout that I'm going to respond to and express in this video. And that beef is the AFC versus the NFC. Who has the better quarterbacks and which conference is more competitive, all right? So AFC versus NFC, okay? Which quarterbacks are better in each of the conferences and which conferences are more competitive, all right? That's what it started off as. In that beef, in that hangout, I'll try to find the hangout and link it in the description and Saints Uptown's channel. But it first started off as which conferences have the better quarterbacks, and then the beef kind of just molded in which conference is more competitive. But it was basically me and Real Talk Perez of the Bucks arguing for the NFC, and Saints Uptown chimed in for the NFC too. I think Siak Briseño was in that hangout too. Iraqi Vet was in that hangout. But the main two culprits of the beef, right, were me and Real Talk Perez, you know, for the NFC, and MacMain70 and Deshaun Parks for the AFC. Okay? Look, man. Okay? Like, it doesn't take much of a brain to see which conference is tougher and more competitive, okay? If the competition was so good in the AFC and so much better than the NFC, then explain to me how one team, the New England Patriots, has ran that team for just about, or ran that conference for just about 2 decades now. Okay. Explain to me that. One team has ran that conference for basically the last 20 years, 2 decades. All right? The AFC is a top-heavy conference, okay? You got basically the same 3 or 4 teams, maybe 5 at most, competing for the Super Bowl consistently year after year. It's the same 3 to 4, 5 teams, okay? If Houston or Indianapolis, okay, those two kind of trade off as far as competitiveness. They were both good this year, but they kind of fall off and on, okay? You got the New England Patriots, who are a consistent contender, the Pittsburgh Steelers, even though they didn't make the playoffs this year, Baltimore, because Joe Flacco won the Super Bowl and they're in the playoffs this year. All right, and it kind of rotates off between the Chargers and the Chiefs, okay? The Raiders had that 1 year with Derek Carr before he got hurt. Jacksonville had that 1 year, and they fell off the face of the earth this year. So basically, like I said, the same 3, 4, and then there's like a 5th team that rotates in and out, like the Chiefs this year, the Jaguars of last year in the championship game, and there's always that 5th team that rotates in and out, right? Okay, the AFC is a top-heavy conference. A top-heavy conference is not a competitive conference. All right, a competitive conference means any given Sunday. Means any team can win a division on any given year. It means games are close. It means you don't know what to expect, okay? Competition, all right? Like I said, any team can beat any team, any given Sunday, right? Division winners are different, okay? So let's start off with the quarterbacks first, though, okay? Let's compare this division by division, okay? Because you AFC guys are morons, okay? Let's compare the NFC East quarterbacks to the AFC East quarterbacks, all right? And how competitive the NFC East has been to the AFC East, okay? Quarterbacks of the AFC East, Tom Brady, all right? The GOAT, all right? Obviously. All right, but outside of Tom Brady, the rest of those quarterbacks are unproven second-year quarterbacks. Josh Allen, unproven second-year quarterback. Sam Darnold, unproven second-year quarterback. Josh Rosen, Dolphins, unproven second-year quarterback. All right? You have one proven quarterback in that division. One. And the other ones, who knows? With Rosen of the Dolphins, Darnold of the Jets, and Josh Allen of the Bills. Okay? NFC East, you got Dak Prescott, you got Carson Wentz, Case Keenum, Eli Manning. Outside of Tom Brady, none of those quarterbacks are better than any of the quarterbacks that I just mentioned from the NFC East. None of them. So, NFC East got better quarterbacks altogether. Granted, the AFC East has the best individual quarterback in Brady, but as a division, nah. NFC East has also been more competitive. NFC East has not had a repeat division winner since 2003 to 2004. Eagles. That was the last time a team repeated as division champs in the NFC East. So I destroyed that argument. Okay? NFC East is more competitive and has better quarterbacks than the AFC East. All right, let's talk about the South. All right? NFC South versus AFC South. Okay? AFC South, you got Andrew Luck. All right, you got Deshaun Watson, you got Marcus Mariota, and Nick Foles. Okay, compared to Drew Brees, Matt Ryan, Cam Newton, and Jameis Winston. Okay, I don't need to explain that. All right, NFC South got better quarterbacks than the AFC South. Okay, competitiveness. The Saints won the division this year, right? Carolina Panthers been to a Super Bowl with the 15-1 record. All right, Falcons were in the Super Bowl, won the division, had a league MVP quarterback in Matt Ryan. Cam Newton, a league MVP quarterback. Okay, none of those quarterbacks, Watson, Luck, Mariota, or Nick Foles, none of them will ever win a league MVP in their life. So obviously, NFC South got better quarterbacks than the AFC South. All right, competition. Okay. I mean, NFC South recently just had 3 teams in the playoffs 2 years ago. So, and they've had Carolina's came out of nowhere with a 15-1 record and a Super Bowl season. Falcons came out of nowhere. Saints were in the NFC Championship game this year. Recently had 3 teams in the playoffs. AFC South, Jacksonville Jaguars fell on the face of the earth. When was the last time the Titans were even relevant? I mean, who even cares about the Titans? Okay. The Colts with Andrew Luck are competitive, and the Texans need to be more consistent. But competition, NFC South, more competitive than the AFC South, and a better division with better quarterbacks. So I went over the East and the South, okay? Let's go over the North divisions for both conferences, all right? Quarterbacks, AFC North. Ben Roethlisberger led the league in passing this year. It's a legit good quarterback. Andy Dalton, a complete bum. All right, don't give me this. Oh, Andy Dalton was a Pro Bowler this year. He was in the Pro Bowl. A Pro Bowl as a what? Like what? A 10th alternate? The alternate of the alternate of the alternate of the alternates didn't want to go, so they just had to have somebody fill in a spot. Nah, Andy Dalton is a bum. He is not a Pro Bowl caliber quarterback. He was there in the Pro Bowl by default because they needed someone there. Okay, Andy Dalton is a bum. He shouldn't even be a starter anymore. This will be his last year. Last year should have been his last year, but this year, if the Bengals are smart, they'll find a new quarterback after this year. Andy Dalton is a bum, okay? So you got a bum in Andy Dalton, Baker Mayfield, who's still unproven going into his second year, and Lamar Jackson, who can't throw. Lamar Jackson is an option quarterback who can't throw. So those are the quarterbacks in the AFC North. You got one legit one in Ben Roethlisberger, who's a star and is going to go into the Hall of Fame. But other than that, you got Andy Dalton, who's a bum. Lamar Jackson can't throw. And Baker Mayfield's an unproven second-year quarterback. All right? And let's go to the NFC North. Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, I mean, better than Ben Roethlisberger. All right? Matthew Stafford, better than any of those other 3 other quarterbacks outside of Ben that I just said. Matthew Stafford, better than Andy Dalton. That's true. Matthew Stafford's better than Andy Dalton. So, and NFC North, Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is better than, as of right now, he's better than Baker Mayfield. As of right now, he's better than Andy Dalton. And as of right now, he's better than Lamar Jackson. Even Kirk Cousins. Mitch Trubisky, same deal. Okay? NFC North got better quarterbacks. Competition. Okay? I mean, Steelers and Ravens. That's been the competition of the AFC North. It's been the Steelers and Ravens division, and even those few wild card years here and there where Cincinnati made the playoffs, couldn't win a playoff game anyway. That's not competitive. They sucked. Okay, the Bears won the division this year. The Vikings won the division last year and made it to the NFC Championship game, and the Packers the year before that, 2016, they won the division and they were in the NFC Championship game. That's 3 different division winners in a row. That is competitive, all right? The AFC North is not competitive, okay? It's the same predicted 2 to 3 teams. Now, will Cleveland change that this year? I don't know, but I got to believe it until I see it with Cleveland. All right, so better quarterbacks, NFC North. With Rodgers. Rodgers is better than all those 4 quarterbacks that I just mentioned for the AFC North. All right, but not even that. The guys like Stafford, all right, Kirk Cousins are better than the other quarterbacks outside of Roethlisberger and the AFC North. I don't even got to go there. Okay, so NFC North, better quarterbacks, more competitive division. AFC West, okay, and NFC West. This might be the one division that favors the AFC, but it's close, okay? Quarterbacks for the AFC West, okay? Derek Carr, who's an overrated bum, okay? Phillip Rivers, a solid quarterback. He's a good quarterback, all right? So I just said Derek Carr, Phillip Rivers, Patrick Mahomes, who had a league MVP season. That's good, right? And Broncos, Joe Flacco, okay? Joe Flacco sucks. So you got 2 good quarterbacks in that division, all right? And then the NFC West, you got Russell Wilson and Jared Goff as the 2 perennial quarterbacks. Jimmy Garoppolo, who knows with him? He hasn't played a full season. And then the Cardinals with Kyler Murray, unproven. So I don't know how you want to look at that. Russell Wilson and Jared Goff versus Patrick Mahomes and Phillip Rivers. I'll give that to the AFC. But competition, though. All right, competition. The Seahawks and 49ers have had competitive years, all right, early on. The Rams were mediocre. Now the Rams are a powerhouse. All right, but then again, the Raiders had that one run with Derek Carr until Derek Carr got hurt. The Chiefs are back in business. The Broncos won a Super Bowl 2015. So you decide that, okay? That's kind of even to me, but I'll give it to the AFC anyway, all right? So that's 3 out of the 4 divisions in the NFC have better quarterbacks than their respective counter-conference division, okay? NFC North better than AFC North. NFC East better than AFC East. NFC South better than AFC South, all right? I'll give the AFC West and NFC West, I'll give that to the AFC. But just stop it, okay? I just broke down the entire division. And if you disagree with, this is just logic, all right? If you disagree with me, that's sad, all right? Just like I said, one team, if the AFC East was so good, then how come, or not even just the AFC East, but if the AFC was so good, then how come not one team in that conference has kept New England from winning 6 Super Bowl titles? New England does not have 6 Super Bowl titles if they had to go on the road in Philadelphia to play the 04 Eagles rather than in a neutral field versus Carolina, versus Seattle, okay, versus Atlanta if they had to go into Atlanta. I don't care what anybody says. They don't have 6 Super Bowl rings in the NFC. Them getting the number 1 seed practically, or a 2 seed just about every year, and always getting the first round bye and always getting these home playoff games, that has given them clear paths to the AFC championship game, which gives them an easier path to the Super Bowl. Okay? I could go on and on and on about arguments about how the NFC is better, okay? The NFC, you don't know what's going to happen. The AFC, you do. That's the difference, okay? You don't know what's going to happen in the NFC, okay? And from that Google Hangout that I was in, all right, talking about, how Tampa only had 5 wins. Well, 2 of those wins were against the Saints and the Eagles. What does that tell you? Any team could beat any team, all right? How many 5-win teams have top 5 offenses? Okay, it's just the Browns were recently 0-16. What does that tell you? Okay, it's just stop it. Okay, the NFC is better and more competitive than the AFC. Don't give me this. And one of the arguments they made was how Drew Brees sucked as a Charger, but went over to the NFC and dominated. And that was their argument as to how the NFC is so weak, because Drew Brees is dominated over there, and he did it with the Chargers. You know, Sean Payton probably had an impact on Drew Brees being better. You know, one of the best coaches in the league. You know, that maybe had a difference there. And it's, you know, notice how, you know, the Chiefs sucked, right? But they had to get an NFC coach and Andy Reid for them to get relevant. If the Jacksonville Jaguars are good this year, they had to get a Super Bowl MVP from the NFC to be good. All right, I can make that argument too, okay? It's just stop it, okay? That NFC is more competitive and has better quarterbacks than the AFC, period. Bottom line, okay? Not even close. Okay, the NFC East has been competitive. You don't know what's going to happen there every year. NFC North